I mean, when you boil it down, Simon, he's only asking for one more day's rest.
Yeah, and I would argue that the moment he got that, he would ask for the next day. The problem with people like Jurgen Klopp, who've got some influence at this moment in time, is they have a tendency to push things in a direction that may be looking, the genesis of it looks okay, because there is an argument to say that this traditional schedule that we have, which was built around the fabric of football in this country, may need to review itself. And then you look at the other side of it and say, when the Boxing Day and schedule that came out on the 26th and the 28th and the New Year's Day fixtures were always played over the years, there were more games being played with less technology, on worse pitches, with less protection of players, and it doesn't matter what you seem to do, there will always be some reason why a manager wants to come out, and Klopp seems to be incredibly strident, as does his assistant manager, whose little nuggets we had to listen to the previous day, about the dynamics of how football in this country should be held together. And everybody's playing on an equal playing field. Everybody understands that the dynamics of it at certain times of the year are playing for the audience. This is for the audience. This is for the broadcasters and the fans that want these games in this way.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a massive pushback, and I might be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Right.
The fans like this tradition. Have you forgotten what puts you where you are? What puts you where you are is the demand for the game. Because if you didn't have the demand for the game, you and your colleagues wouldn't be getting paid tens of millions of pounds per year. You'd be getting what Jimmy Hill campaigned against in the 1960s, a certain wage category. So whilst I empathise with the sensible thinking of maybe there is an element of game after game after game and 26 and 28 with intensity, because the argument yesterday being advanced by his oppo was quality. Then you move the argument to injury. Then you move the argument...
Which is a real one.
Then you move the argument to the fact, and it's been that, but again I make the point, David Moyes doesn't seem to have a problem. It seems to be foreign managers that come into our game that take the benefits of being in the most powerful domestic league and then sit there and decrying it because it doesn't suit them.
Well,
I don't like it, Jim.
Is that true? I mean, Brendan Rodgers is pushing back, and it's Steven Gerrard's pushing back. I know you've got a cheeky smirk or a wry smile, whatever you like to describe it, when Martin Keown opens up about player welfare.
Yeah.
But listen to Mikel Arteta. He's saying football has to listen to the concerns of the players.
There are two protagonists here. One that are the players, and the other that are the supporters. Without the players, we can do nothing. So we have to really listen to the players, because they are the ones that have to be there. It's easy for us to be there and demand, and they are the ones have to perform, and they have to do it. The clubs are deciding, and that's the decision that they've made, so we have to carry on. Obviously, we had a preference of what to do because of the schedule and the situation that we are in, but it didn't happen. So now we have to play, if we can, every single match with no recovery and with less numbers.
You see, following on what Arteta said there, Maheta Malango, the new man at the top of the PFA, is saying the players that they cannot always be the last to find out about what's going on to affect their lives and their work.
But with the greatest respect in the world, right, we seem to have got this backside about face. I understand what Arteta is saying about the players, but without the clubs, without the fans, the players will have nowhere to play. So there is an element of suggesting that the thinking behind this needs to be about the people that are controlling the game. The players are the major beneficiaries of all of the associated opportunities in football. But we seem to be getting ahead into a situation where we're managing the game by democracy. I don't want to sound like some autocratic old mill baron like Bob Lord used to be at Burnley, but enough already. Play the bloody game. Get on with being players. You're being given far too much. Most players I know actually want to play these games. You listen to people like Graham Souness and people like David Moyes coming out saying, game after game, next thing is the next game, get the games going, that's what we want. And then you've got Klopp, who, by the way, I'm a huge admirer of. I think he's an outstanding manager.
Right.
I think he's one of the best managers in the world, unarguably. That doesn't make him the Messiah. This isn't Life of Brian. He doesn't get to do what he wants when he wants.
I get that, Simon, but it's not just Klopp. It's not just Arteta. Look, Steven Gerrard, there we go. He's been explaining how difficult it is to handle the schedule, along with the ingredient of COVID. Listen.
I'm just generally concerned about, first and foremost, the players' welfare. And, trying to protect them and their own families during this time. I'm concerned about my staff and staff members of the club in general, because this virus is where it is. It seems to be everywhere at the moment. Listening to all the other managers' interviews, it seems like every club has got their own different situations. But listen, it's going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to have to try and manage and deal with. But from in my shoes, it's very concerning, because you're trying to prepare, you're trying to plan a team. Well, 1 minute you have a team in your head that you think they're playing, and that can change every time you get a message off the doctor.
So that was Gerrard's taking it.
But Stephen is relating that to a COVID climate. He's talking about the challenges that we've got today.
Well, that's the extra ingredient, if you like.
But Jurgen
on top of the schedule.
Jurgen isn't talking about that. Jurgen is talking about, since he walked into this country 6 years ago, I have been campaigning for not playing games on the 26th and the 28th.
I get that, but Gerrard's saying that plus COVID, congestion and COVID adds to even greater congestion.
And there is an argument that suggests that ultimately you could have to make a dispensation for a landscape that is decimating teams through COVID, or you can change the protocols so that we don't have the most absurd, ridiculous, obsequious protocols. That means if you stand downwind from somebody that once upon a time had this, you have to isolate yourself for 10 days.
Well, listen, he's neither absurd or is he out of line with anything he says, and to my mind, and I'm talking about the Brighton boss, Graham Potter. I mean, Liverpool's Jordan Henderson has said that player welfare isn't taken seriously enough. Potter's jumped in, and he says he's got sympathy for Henderson's point of view.
First thing to say is Jordan Henderson's a fantastic top professional, a great role model, and whenever he speaks, it's worth listening to. Is the first thing I would say. And then, we're in a period of time where I think historically, traditionally, there's massive pressure on the players at this time of year, and obviously it's made worse because we're going through COVID. So you can understand those comments. There's a balance between playing football matches and money, and sometimes I guess we don't get that balance right, and I can understand where Jordan's coming from.
I like that. Yeah, there's got to be a balance between playing football matches and the money that
I know. Take a pay cut then.
The matches bring in.
But lightweights, lightweights. I don't know what kind of people we're breeding, but lightweights. All I hear, and I know that they're leading questions that are asked by journalists that invoke these responses. But I can't bear it, Jim. Not because I'm some draconian, one-dimensional person. Have some character. Just power through. We accept all the upsides. Take some of the downsides. Football is built upon a culture of people always making an excuse. Always a reason why it's somebody else's responsibility. What I do agree with them with, and it's their own fault they didn't vote for it, because the clubs are some of all their parts. 5 substitutes. If they're doing it in Europe, give them 5 substitutes. But if they get 5, they want 7. If they get 7, they want 10, right? Whatever you give people, it's never enough. How about you're doing really well? How about pinching yourself to realise how bloody lucky you are? Because if it wasn't for football, half of you'd be working at McDonald's. You're earning £10 million a year playing football, and all you do is pee and whine about what you haven't got.
And those who work at McDonald's, it's fine for them. And they do a darn good job.
They do too.
But Gerrard
I'm talking about the economic rewards, not the quality of the job.
The reduced squads that are coming up to get through these 2 fixtures, down to 13 or 14 available, that's out of order.
But get on with it. They used to play with 1 substitute 25 years ago.
But you've never played, Simon. You're not playing the games. They're playing the games.
I'm not suggesting I have played, but there's a way to approach life, and these guys are in a situation where they're supposed to be characters. They're supposed to have backbones. They're supposed to be leaders of men. They're supposed to be on their front foot. We all accept that it's not ideal. Everybody walking around the streets today looks at the world through a prism of this is not ideal. How about shut up and get on with playing the nation's game? You're afforded so much courtesy, so much opportunity, so much support, so much respect. How about being worthy of it? How about earning it as a matter of course, rather than sitting there telling everybody how hard done by you are? Because you've got to play 2 games.
Are you prepared
on the 26th and 28th?
Point of view tomorrow, eyeball to eyeball with Martin Keown?
Of course I would. I'd be more than happy to advance it to Martin. I'll send it to him this afternoon as a transcript so he can pore over it and find some way to discredit it, perhaps.
Okay, that's us told.